You canceled plans today and felt relieved, not guilty, relieved. You went somewhere alone, cafe, cinema, bookstore, doesn't matter, and genuinely enjoyed every second of it. You once sat in silence for an hour on purpose, no phone, no noise, and came out feeling weirdly better. And every time people around you don't get it. Why don't you just join us? Are you okay? You're so antisocial. Classic. Here's the thing though. Psychology actually disagrees with all of that. And the reason why is way more interesting than you'd expect. It all comes down to one difference between being left alone and choosing to be alone. First, let's get two things straight because people mix these up constantly. Loneliness and solitude. They sound like the same word. They're not even close. Loneliness is the ache of wanting connection you don't have. Solitude is choosing to be alone and being totally fine in it. One is something happening to you. The other is something you're doing on purpose. And here's where most people completely get it wrong, including a lot of people who think they know themselves pretty well. They assume it's an introvert thing, but actually it has nothing to do with introvert or extrovert. That framing is too simple. Plenty of extroverts need regular alone time to recharge. Plenty of introverts still dread being by themselves. Comfort with solitude is its own skill. Think of it like a muscle separate from personality. So what actually separates people who genuinely love being alone from those who find even 5 minutes of quiet unbearable? Researchers have looked into this. Turns out it comes down to 3 things, none of which are your personality type, by the way. Number 1, your relationship with your own thoughts. Psychologists call it self-concept clarity, which sounds fancy, but basically just means, do you know who you are? Because when your thoughts feel like familiar company, being alone isn't threatening. It's actually kind of nice. But when you don't really know who you are, silence feels like a room with no furniture. Technically a room, sure, but deeply uncomfortable to just sit in. And this isn't just a vibe, there's data to back it up. A 2003 study by Long and Averill found that people who regularly chose solitude, not because they were forced into it, not because they were rejected, but because they genuinely wanted to, reported higher creativity, better emotional regulation, and a stronger sense of personal meaning. Keyword there, chose. Choosing to be alone is a very different thing from being left alone. Number 2, what you actually do when it gets quiet. Most of us, and be honest, fill silence immediately. Podcasts, scroll, TV in the background, anything. Not because we're bad at being alone, just because silence feels awkward at first. But people who actually enjoy solitude have figured out how to use silence differently. They process. They think things through properly. They arrive at clarity that just isn't possible when there's always noise. Think of your mind like a snow globe. Every notification, every scroll, every background noise, it's just shaking the globe. The moment you stop, everything settles, and you can finally see what's actually going on in there. People who enjoy solitude have basically learned to let the snow settle. They're not hiding from the world, they're seeing it clearer than most. But here's the thing, that still doesn't explain the most important part. Why are some people actually comfortable in the quiet? That part is different, and it's coming up next. Number 3, and this is the one almost nobody talks about. People who genuinely enjoy being alone aren't more independent. They're not stronger or tougher. They don't need less connection. The actual difference, the one thing that separates them, is that they're not afraid of what they'll find when it gets quiet. That's it. That's the whole explanation. And this flips what most people assume. People assume that if you enjoy being alone, you must be avoiding other people, running away, hiding. But what psychology actually finds is the complete opposite. People who are comfortable with solitude tend to have better relationships, not worse ones, because they choose to connect. They don't need it like oxygen. A 2017 study by Bowker and colleagues actually put a name to this. Choosing solitude because you genuinely enjoy it predicts higher well-being. Withdrawing because people feel too much, that's different. That's worth paying attention to. So here's a question, and take a second with it. When you're alone, Where does your mind actually go? Toward things you're curious about? Or toward things you've been avoiding? Does the quiet feel like somewhere you'd choose to return to? Or like something you're just getting through? If the quiet feels like somewhere worth returning to, good news. That means you've built something on the inside that doesn't need constant external input to feel okay. Researchers actually call this a healthy relationship with solitude. Not antisocial, not cold, just internally stable. And honestly, that's rarer than most people realize. But if the quiet feels like something you're enduring, worth noticing. Not judging yourself for it, just noticing. Because that discomfort usually points somewhere useful, either toward thoughts you haven't quite sorted out yet, or toward a kind of connection that's missing. Both are fixable. Neither is something to be embarrassed about. The good news is, and this is important, comfort with solitude isn't something you either have or you don't. It's a skill. It's buildable. Start small. 10 minutes. No phone, no noise, no agenda, not meditation, just existing for a bit. See what comes up. Don't fix it. Don't scroll away from it. Just sit with whatever's there. The goal isn't to become a person who loves being alone. The goal is to become a person who isn't scared of it. Because once you're not scared of silence, you have options. You can be around people and be fully present. You can be alone and be fully fine. Both on your own terms. That's not antisocial. That's actually just freedom. The quieter you get with yourself, the louder everything that actually matters becomes. Being alone isn't a flaw to fix. For a lot of people, it's not emptiness. It's fullness, just the quieter kind. And honestly, for some people, being alone is how they come home to themselves. If this one hit different, save it. Because next time someone calls you antisocial, you'll want this ready. And subscribe if you want more psychology that actually makes sense, clearly explained, no fluff, no noise.